I'm just going to hit record for us. It is going to change anyways, because that's what the age of Aquarius is all about. And I've been saying this even before I was an astrologer and I say this as a Canadian, stop thinking the government is going to fucking save you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. Like, if you want to be healthy, stop running to your doctor every time you got a little itch and a scratch. Go to a holistic practitioner and learn to change your diet and maybe get outside and exercise and maybe drink more water and
Yeah.
and that's the stuff I talk about. Yeah, we still need doctors for major things, but there is something fundamentally wrong with this system, and that's all coming down, and that's what people are looking for, but they're not going to get it. So it's going to be very interesting how this all plays out.
Mm.
It is. Yeah. What you just said earlier about the age of Aquarius and God, you put it so well
About the
about
compassion, I just put
empowerment.
it as a
It-
post. I just
oh,
literally posted that because i
oh,
am i am going to be posting more things about what the age of Aquarius really means, and so I
yeah.
literally just reposted something. Okay, it was a tantra post, and it said, open-minded people do not impose their beliefs on others. They accept that we all have a different perspective on life and do their own thing in peace without judgment. And so I reposted it and I said, if you guys want to comment or whatever later say, I wrote, this is the definition of emotional freedom, compassion, and equality. And I wrote, welcome to the age of Aquarius.
Mm.
I love
Yeah,
that.
that whole empowerment thing about the individual. That's
Yeah,
really
that's what
that's
emotional freedom is that you can have the freedom to believe what you want, to do what you want. I mean, I'm talking about not harming others. Like, you can
yeah.
have your own right, but you don't stop loving someone you care about or a friend or a family because they have a different belief, because you're judging.
Yeah.
You're judging. And you have to learn how to love and just say, we can have a difference of opinion and still love one another. That's what
Well,
freedom is.
yeah, but it's when their views impinge on yours and that's like, you just have to
But,
always
but it's both
step up.
sides. There's no
Yeah.
full light and full dark. It's like the yin yang symbol. In order to be liberal, we're going to have some things, but then there's some darkness in there too. And some
Yes.
of the thing, right? So that's the yin yang. It's like it's never going to be all one-sided. It never, because
Yeah.
in order to experience light, there has to be a crack of darkness. And
Hmm.
the opposite, in darkness, there's always a crack of light in there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There has
Like,
to
we
be.
get that one. Yeah, there has to be. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. And so
Yeah,
there's no such thing as perfection.
it's true.
And as we get older, we get this. But when we're young, we're very opinionated. And then you get older, and like you say, you fall in love with someone or you have children. I mean, I have my kids, they don't follow my same beliefs, but I don't stop loving them, and I don't sit and pick an argument with them. They say whatever, and I carry on. I'm here to
Yeah.
spend time with you and to be with you. But if I let that get in my way, do you think my kids are going to want to be around me? No. So that's not fun. That's fundamentally wrong.
Well, that's part of the crow wisdom. That's part of the crone. I mean, yeah, moving into
Yeah.
that sage place.
Yeah. Because I am up there. I know Sonia's not here. She's the oldest, but
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, anyways, that's pretty wild. So I'm glad we
Pretty
recorded this.
awesome.
Yeah. So what time are you going to jump off, Maggie?
I actually I could be with you probably until like 10:25, but I'll just need to be in the car. So I'm just getting ready and then I'll jump in the car in like 10 minutes. So
Okay.
um
Okay.
so I'll be listening for a while. Maybe in the car I could speak a little bit more.
Okay, that sounds good. All
Yeah?
right. I got
Okay.
the deck shuffle. Oh, I'll shuffle it. But let's pick
Yay.
a word.
Oh.
Oh.
The word completion just came to mind.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go with vibrant, vibrance.
And I'm gonna go with freedom.
Mm, yeah, they're all related, aren't they?
Totally.
Yeah. Oh, I think there's a woodpecker outside my door.
Oh,
Oh,
I love woodpeckers. Those are my favorite
You can hear the
birds. The
oh,
woodpeckers and the
wow.
crows. And you've already said crow already.
I didn't. You
Yeah.
said crone and I said crow.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, I guess I'm being picked to
Yeah.
say a
Yes, you
prayer.
are.
You are.
I
You know it.
know. One of these days, I'm going to talk one of you into doing it. Okay, so we have completion, freedom, and vibrance.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. So, as we're able to, while Maggie's doing her thing, we'll take a deep breath together and settle in. And then let's take another deep breath. And one more deep breath. And as we do, let's release anything that is not serving us in this moment. How good it is to let go of any excess baggage, any excess weight that we want to drop and release completely in this moment so that we are free. We are experiencing freedom, freedom in this moment to be, to flow, to move like the trees that blow in the wind, that are rooted deeply into the earth and yet are flexible and flowing as they bend and sway with the breeze. We are like nature. We are connected to nature. We are unified. We are vibrant. We are moving forward in growth, in our open mindset, in our humbleness, and our willingness to accept change. We are expanding. We are knowing. We are feeling those deep roots going deep into the earth, connecting us all to our center, connecting us deep, 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 deep within and around us. I call upon us to breathe in, to accept the changes as part of this growth time, as part of our expansion, as part of our loving and connection. I call upon the being that we know as Sonia to be connected with us now, as we all are in heart, in mind, and body and spirit. We are grateful. We are grateful for this time to come together, to shine, to be with one another. We are grateful for this time that allows us to recenter, recalibrate, realign, refocus, readjust, and then go forward into the world with more love and compassion, more gratitude, more resilience, more knowing, more being, as we are human beings in this moment. Thank you for the vitality, for the strength, for the resilience that is already within us, that we are now expanding, growing, and uniting and connecting with one another. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for a beautiful and peaceful appointment for Maggie, for health and abundance for her. Thank you for peace and moments of unexpected joy as we move through our day in this interesting and exciting time. With so much gratitude and love filling our hearts to overflowing, we say, so be it. And so it is. Amen.
That was so good. It took me back to sitting on my deck at my camp property under the trees. I used to
Ah,
love sitting under those big pine trees that would blow. I used to call it whispering pines.
yes, I love that.
It was gorgeous, Laurel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my
Okay.
pleasure.
And I think we got a message from Sonia.
Okay.
Oh,
Let's see
yeah.
here. What did she say? Sorry, at the doctor's with my brother, didn't see the confirmation email. Oh, so yeah. Um, I guess um you're not sending them anymore, right, Tamara?
No, that's what I said on the last call. That's why I gave you guys
Yeah.
the calendar listing. So it's on your Google Calendar now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we'll just have, can you just remind her that I'm not going to send those out anymore? Just to check, always check the Google Calendar because everybody accepted it. So it should be on your calendars.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It says Google Meet on my calendar instead of Zoom.
Well, I think that's just Google's way of saying it, but I think the Zoom link is in it in the
Ah, okay.
yeah, because I was just like, I was just adding it to my own calendar so that I remember
Right.
because
So much
and
easier.
then it said you can send an email invite. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna put all your emails in there. And then you guys all got the message. And I was like, well, this is cool. I didn't
Yeah.
even know you could do this.
Ah, love it.
Because this coaching, like my God, they're like adding more and more trainings. And I think it's because there's just so
Oh.
many shifts and I don't think they're enrolling as many clients because people are just scared to spend money. So I guess they're really trying to make sure that people do the trainings and get out there and start getting clients
Hmm.
rather than, like I'm shocked at how many people aren't doing it. But hey, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is.
I'm texting her now to let her know. Maggie, do you want to pick a say when?
Ooh, okay. Now.
Yes. Dun, 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 dun.
Ta-da!
Explore your options.
Ooh, that's a pretty one.
Like that.
Yes.
That's
And the
beautiful.
little girl is swimming down to see a sea turtle in the water. This deck is very Neptunian, and Neptune is now in the astrological sign of Aries. So I can read to you guys what that means because I actually plunked it in my phone because Neptune is one of those planets that travels very slow, and Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, Laurel. So, um,
Hmm.
yeah, and that would be your whatever. Okay, it's time to look at other possibilities and it's time to make some changes. That's kind of what your message was about too, to go
Mm-hmm.
with the flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just had this visual when you were saying that because what was coming to me when I was doing the prayer was this visual of the trees. Like I said, they're so grounded, but then they're moving and flexible. And when you said that, I'm thinking, I love the mirror between macro and micro. And you go into the ocean, it's the same thing with the seaweed. The same thing,
Yeah,
a lot of that life down there, it's grounded, but it's still moving and flexible.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually, and I don't know why, but oh, I'm okay. Where I'm putting our notes for today, because I don't have my journal. It's just I'm like flipping to the last page where I
Yeah.
was making notes, and it was somehow I was on a call with someone in the coaching, and oh, I know what it was. I was on someone's master class and I was her wing woman. And like you support each
Ah,
other. Like when you do classes, you help each other out. So you get an assistant and you can
yeah.
just focus on your training, which I love because it's just getting us ready for like getting our own assistants and knowing what we really need. And so
Mm.
I was listening to this woman's masterclass, and at the very end, we were just about to close off, and I had a flash of one of Colette Baron Reed's cards, her oracle cards.
Mm.
And I said, I'm seeing in between worlds, I'm seeing her card. And the women were like, that is so bizarre. So I went on ChatGPT and had Chat write something, and that was kind of like the message I used. But as you were talking, I was looking down on my piece of paper where I wrote my notes, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the in-between worlds again, is just, you can adapt and change a little bit, just tweak things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I love that.
Okay, so I will read you the message and then we can roll.
Okay.
Go forward. Okay, so the message says, sometimes we think this is the way it is, and we don't see other options. So by drawing this card, Heaven now asks you to question any situation that you think can't be changed, and take a moment and pretend that a magical mermaid has granted you 3 wishes. Oh, we should do that as our theme for the call today. You can have anything you want. What will you wish for? The truth is that most anything you desire is possible, and this card asks you to explore your options. And at first, you might do so mentally through daydreams and nighttime dreams. Then it's important to turn these possibilities into realities by breaking them into small goals that you can accomplish today. And when you explore new opportunities, the energy of the universe begins flowing in the direction of your dreams. And any step you take, no matter how small, will help you see options that you may never have noticed before.
Hmm. That's cool.
Yeah, I think we should all just think of even one,
What are
rather
our
than
three
three.
wishes?
Yeah, or just one big wish, you
Well,
know?
it's interesting. I've been doing, ever since the Tony Robbins workshops that I did a while back, I've been continuing to do an exercise every morning of his.
Yeah,
And it's a meditation where he asks you 3 things that you're grateful for and 3 things that you see into the future that you call forth. And
yeah,
so it's kind of that same thing. It's like a wish that you have, but then you have to call it forth and see it, like actually see it happening
yeah,
in your mind's eye. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And that's kind of like, that perspective of doing that meditation. And then you have to see yourself as if it's already happened,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then like you're looking at yourself as if
Right.
it's already happened.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's where I've kind of switched now when I do a visualization, that's and that coach that I was with, that's part of an NLP thing. He was big into, well, he
mm,
used to work for Tony Robbins many years ago, but he stopped because he doesn't like the fact that some coaches don't like the fact that Tony Robbins puts you into a trance and then he sells you something,
oh,
right? He gets
well,
you
yeah,
in
I can see
your,
that.
and that's how he makes his money. And some coaches that understand NLP understand what he's doing. So other people agree with it or they don't agree with it. It's just what we're talking about, the
Yeah,
dark and
yeah,
the light,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Huh.
So, but anyways, I
Yeah.
still think he's
Interesting.
powerful. And he does
Oh, for
help people.
sure.
He does help
Yeah.
people. Let's face it.
I've done a lot of stuff and I was really hesitant, but now I get it. I'm like, all right, there's a lot to be said for what he's doing.
I think so too.
So,
I think
yeah.
so too. And I've jumped into some of his trainings and stuff, and I bought his one thing, but Sage Divine is more in line with what I want, but she hangs out with Tony Robbins and what's his name?
Dean?
Dean
That's-
Graziosi. Like they
Yeah.
all go to their coaching programs together, right?
Ah,
Like they're like, you know, and so yeah, it's just
interesting.
it's just a higher level. When you start making big money, you're putting money towards other worldly causes and nonprofit and feeding people and you're giving
Yeah.
back, right?
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Do we want
Who
Maggie to
wants
go
to go?
first?
Yeah, Maggie, what do you want to do? It's your call. And I'm really interested in knowing if your breasts are okay or if it's just a routine sort of thing.
Hi. Hi. Yeah, I'm
Cheers.
just gonna hop in the car. I was just letting Bonnie out and everything. And um yes, my breasts are very dense and and so they're hard to read. They're you know, and they
I can
just
relate.
my mom I do have a history of breast cancer in my family. My mom had it, and so So it's just something to be extra watchful for. So I have about, 2 appointments a year now, and now they're going to do this MRI thing that it's even more well, it's AI somewhat in that they can detect breast cancer signs up to 2 years earlier than
Wow.
traditional ways. It's like $40 more, I guess, and then so they do this extra look um, where the computers take a look at the different spots on your mammogram, basically, and see and are able to alert the people who look at it to things that may be suspicious.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's just a preventative measure, but
Yeah.
I'm really glad to do it because it is such a real threat. So sorry, I'm just getting in the car. Sorry if it's loud.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for asking and caring
Yeah.
and here
Thank you
just
for taking care of yourself.
oh
And you know what, Maggie? I know you're getting in the car, so I'll just interrupt for a second.
yeah.
When I was at my last OBGYN appointment, they said that we have the option on my insurance to do a BRCA test, which would be free, I think, or included. So you can do that now. I didn't know that, so you can check the BRCA gene or whatever it is to see what your percentage is, if that's something that's of interest to you. Because same thing, I have a lot of breast cancer on my mom's side.
Oh yeah.
I chose not to. I don't want to know.
You
But
don't,
I know both my cousins wanted to know when they did it.
and it did it happen to them?
Uh, well, there, okay, so on my mother's side, almost every woman has had breast cancer and or died from it. And so their mother had breast cancer, my mother's cousin. Um, I know this is a long answer to your question. She had breast cancer, she died from it. So both of them tested positive. They both had the same gene, and
Oh
they
my.
decided they didn't want to take a chance. So one of them had double mastectomy, and the other one, I think I can't remember if she did a mastectomy, but then she ended up getting ovarian cancer, which is that same gene. It can then branch out. So she didn't get breast, but she got ovarian. So
Wow.
I guess the answer to your question is yes for one of them, and the other one chose not to even go down that road. She just had the double mastectomy. Um, that's their choice. I said I don't want that information. I'm choosing to think differently. That's just the way I
Yeah.
believe. But I'm just saying that because it is an option now, which I didn't know. Like back when they did it, you had to go through all these extra steps to have that done.
Yeah.
And she offered it like, oh yeah, it's no biggie. We just draw some blood now and that's it.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah,
Anyway,
I have spoken with a past gynecologist about the BRCA gene,
yeah.
and I don't. I want to say didn't find it because it's not um, something I'm working with now. So, but thank you so much. Yeah. There's so much more that they can detect, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess knowledge is power. But yeah, knowledge can also.
Yeah.
I hope you're okay. I hope.
Oh yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna be fine.
that's yeah.
Yeah.
Um, So, okay, so what I can report is that I think I told you, my friend Ken, who I was trying to help sell things last year, he died, of course,
Yeah.
March 9th.
Oh,
And so Sunday was his celebration of life. And so I was the quote unquote MC for that. And Hamish, ran the tech. And so, oh my gosh, it was okay. So we went to a wedding on Saturday night, which was great. And then Sunday, this was just such a looming thing that was going on. We had to go there and set up, yeah, the TV so that the Zoom could be on the TV and people could, interact with us, and share um, from the Zoom on the TV to the crowd and have the crowd, in when they shared, into a microphone, the Zoom could hear and it was being recorded. And I was watching the chat and I was watching, like who could speak next and calling on people, just like trying to be,
Wow.
oh my God, it was so much like I'm still exhausted, and here it is Wednesday, and I'm just kind of amazed by that. But it went really nicely. But there were certain things I forgot that I had planned to do, and here it is. It's just that thing, and I don't know, Tamron, if this goes with my Virgo qualities, but like, I honestly like. I know something's coming up. I knew about it for a month. I absolutely, wanted to be prepared and remember everything and have it go so smoothly. But there's part of me that can't level, but then like I just don't do it until the last few days, and maybe even the night before. I mean, it's like, being back in college again and writing your paper the night before kind of thing. And part of when I was at this acting studio with these with Ken and Sam, part of their pro class assignments were to
Uh-oh, I think you muted yourself, Maggie.
oh,
Hello? Maggie, we don't hear you.
There you
you
are.
are.
We can't hear you though.
oh, okay.
There you are.
I was trying to, okay.
We can't hear you again.
Okay, there it is. Okay, so
Yeah.
so I'm trying to watch the GPS too on how to get there, and anytime I slide to the GPS, it takes me on mute.
Yes.
So
I know the feeling.
okay. So anyway, but so when I was in class with Ken and Sam, the idea was, or with Sam, the idea was to not over prepare, and so I've been trying to get myself out of that habit. But then for something so important as this, I just honestly, I had prepared exactly what I wanted to say. And then when I finally got up and started talking, here's 50, 60 people, looking back at you, and you're in charge, and it's like, things fly out the window. I wanted to trust myself, but then so I went off script, but then I forgot things that I really needed to say, like giving credit where credit was due with different people that helped. And I just was like, it went great. People, so many people came up and said, oh my gosh, you did such a, lovely job, with something so hard, basically, balancing the lightheartedness of, a celebration that is very sad too. And so anyway, but like, yeah, and Hamish and I were just, we agreed that we could have used an assistant
No.
to Zoom to be, on the chat, because, anytime I then was on the microphone or like let somebody speak who was on the Zoom, I like changed the setting of the sound. And so then the people like coming out of it couldn't hear. I don't know. There was just always something going on with with the Zoom, and then having to read people what they wrote in the chat to share, and it was a high pressure kind of position. But I was comforted by the fact that I knew people were just there, to honor Ken. And but here's the thing I learned from both the wedding and the memorial. The wedding, it was a funny thing. They sent out like a paperless post invite, wasn't like, nothing was like traditional, like with, in the mail or anything like that. It was, and so we knew it started at 4, but we didn't know how long it went. And so we kind of thought at one point, one of the friends I saw there was like, oh yeah, it just goes 4 to 7. And I was like, oh, okay. So really we should, be eating, all these apps, and not having dinner, I guess, and anyway, but so there wasn't like my point is there wasn't a set schedule, and so we didn't know how to pace ourselves for the night. And like there was going to be a dinner that all like the cake and dancing, and like it was going to be everything, but we didn't realize that it was. And so then at the memorial, I was like, oh, I should have, let people know that we were going to do these shares, the whole time, up until the, the last 15 minutes when we were going to get a picture and um, so I think it's always managing expectations for the crowd whenever you are in charge of something like that. That's a good takeaway. And so I'm sure, Tamara, you're probably learning that with your, with Sage. That's something.
Absolutely.
I hope okay. Talk about that for a second if I go on mute here.
And I'm not typing, so I don't know where that.
Yeah, it's okay. I think she's only been talking because she's got to get off in about 5. But yeah, that's exactly what she promotes right from the beginning is, just support each other. They call it wing women, like, like just ask for help. And it's amazing. I've always done things just by myself. But when I even did my first one, because I've done 4 now, it was just so different having, like you say, someone reading the chat, someone posting links, someone admitting people in the room. And I was able to just, stay in my genius zone and just teach or whatever. So yeah, you guys are learning that. And also too, all I was going to say was, I don't think it has anything to do with your Virgo, mind or, where your Mercury is. It's that saying, like all these NLP teachers teaches, when emotion runs high, intelligence runs low. So when you're emotional, like don't expect miracles that you're going to be able to memorize something, because that's the Mercury mind trying to memorize, but your heart's emotional.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So give yourself some credit. I think people would have been wanting to feel your heart and whatever, more than worrying about what you needed to say. So if you went off topic, it's probably what was meant to happen, and it was probably better. So I think it would have been more heartfelt.
Well, yeah, thank you. That it was received that way, I believe. But the thing is, I totally forgot we had these bookmarks made, for the just for people to take and as a remembrance of him. And they were supposed to get that after they spoke, and I was like, that totally went out the window, and this was like, so
Oh
sad.
wow. Oh wow.
But some got them on the way out and some didn't, and etc.
Yeah.
It was good overall. Here, okay, I need to look at the map again. Hold on one second.
You know what, Maggie, if you can hear us, I'm going to say thank you for doing that, because I didn't get a chance to go to the memorial and I really, really wanted to. And so I agree with Tamron wholeheartedly. I think people were there because they wanted to be in community, they wanted to be together and celebrate him. So I'm sure that everybody was overwhelmed with gratitude for all that you did just to help bring that together. I am right now, and I wasn't able to be there. Thank you. Thank you for stepping in. I bet Ken was just beaming. I'm sure he was so grateful.
Yeah, I know Ken would have been just it himself.
He would have loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. And now I do have a recording of it if you do want to watch.
I just might, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That'd be awesome.
Okay. Okay, so I am here and I'm gonna have to look for parking, and I'm not let's see here. Let's see. So anyway, so I just still feel kind of just overwhelmed and like, exhausted from that, but I'm slowly letting myself off the hook, and and on to other things now. So yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, I think it's also a double emotional pull because you're doing all of that, which is stressful in and of itself. But then when it's somebody that you really care about or, cared for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like double duty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could never be an MC at a funeral for someone that I knew very well. I know myself, I'm a good
Yeah.
speaker. I'm good at doing things as long as I'm not emotionally connected.
Yeah.
But I watch other people do it and I'd be like, I'd be too busy sobbing. I wouldn't even be able to get a word out because I'm too sensitive when it comes to stuff like that.
Same
So
here.
kudos for you for doing it because I can't sign up for that stuff. I
Oh,
have to not know you or not
yeah.
know you very well where I
Yeah.
could take myself out of it, you know?
Well, I'm so glad I did know him because, it would be really strange feeling for me to do it for a stranger, um, but in the end, yeah, it's there's no middle ground there. Either
Yeah.
or you don't.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah. I hear you.
um,
It's a tough job.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I'll just go into this parking garage actually. Um, so so then what else? I'm this week just catching up. So then this weekend, actually, I was hired to do something similar. Um, so there's a woman who does not want to attend a gala to represent her business, so she hired me to do it to
Oh my gosh.
be the networking person for her. And she, I mean, but it's a really beautiful business that she provides. It's in-home care for the elderly, and so it's not like nurses per se, but it's just people to help you do and stay in your home, but like do tasks for you, go to the store for you, or take you to your appointments, or you know um, and so it's a beautiful service, and I'm happy to do it. And so I get to go to these two black tie events in the next week and a half. And
Wow.
with like really notable people. And she's like, yeah, talk about your acting, talk about Arbonne, talk about anything you want to. And then just they'll know that you're also my representative for Sheridan in-home care. So I was like, wow, okay. It's a really nice evening out. So I have to dress up and get,
I didn't feed him.
huh?
Oh, she's talking to
Oh,
her.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm
That's
dog sitting here.
exciting,
Yeah.
Maggie.
I should have taken
That's
myself off.
awesome.
So
Yeah, that's amazing.
so it'll be fun, and she's paying me to do it. So I negotiated a rate, and so I'm excited. But I just have to learn now how to what to say to talk about her business. So that's my assignment for the rest of the week because that's on Sunday.
Your monologue to memorize.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this is
You're
something
gonna wing it.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, hopefully I'll do a better job this time. But okay.
You will.
So okay, who's next?
Hold on. I have to
That's
do a fast
awesome.
bathroom run because
Okay.
yeah, I drank a ton of water, so I will be back in less than 2 minutes. Okay, just I'm just gonna
Well, then while we're here, Maggie, is there
Yeah.
anything else you want to share from Ken's service?
Hi, Laurel. Well, you
I
know, th-
just,
these were a lot of his, personal friends, a good amount of them, were linked to the studio too, but most of them were like his lifetime friends, like his friend since he was 2 years old. I mean, she's hilarious. You
Aw.
have to, there's certain people you definitely have to, listen to on the recording. And she's one of
Aw.
them, Shasha Sharon, and
Aw.
another one. She's got pink hair, and she was at Sam's because Sam and Ken lived together at one
Oh,
point.
yes. Yeah, yeah. I remember her. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
in the reruns, like
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
a band or whatever. And so yeah, she's a hoot, and then his partner Phil, and then yeah, just lots of neighbors and friends, and really everyone, it always takes coaxing to have people, speak. So I along with some other people, I brainstormed some words that just like would evoke Ken, or some questions that would evoke Ken, and how what your relationship would be like with him. And so so I had a bowl with a bunch of those in and said, please take one on your way in. And so then some people could either speak from that, or I had Sam's thesaurus that I had gotten at the garage sale there, if they wanted to flip through to a word or just like talk from their heart. And so it was and then it was supposed to be kind of like a little game in a way, that pick from those things, but it didn't quite work out that way. But anyway, but it was a lot of people shared, and it took up the whole, let's see, from like 4 o'clock till 5:45. Like we've had speakers the whole time, and
wow.
Yeah, online and in person. And yeah, it was I guess I knew most of the, well, I had met maybe representations of the different eras of his life, but at the end of the day, a person is just, there were pictures of him as a little kid and it looked exactly like him as an adult. Like it's so like how we're just little versions of ourselves all grown up, and yet we're still that little kid. It's just, and then to have people talk in the way that they did about his name's not Ken, it's Kenny, he's Ken Kirschenbaum from Brooklyn, New York, from Bensonhurst, it's so cute. And people just, yeah, we are all, I don't know, it's like, do we ever really grow up?
I hope not. I don't want to grow up.
I mean, yeah, we do in some ways, but yeah, it's just, yeah. So that was interesting. And there's just great food and drink, and this beautiful yard. We used the tree of life symbol as the I'm going into a stairwell here if I lose you, but as the kind of symbol of it all. It was a medallion at the on the ribbon of the bookmark, and it was this gorgeous tree in this backyard. And wow, so I pulled in that kind of tree meaning of life and legacy and standing tall against challenges, and the branches of your life and family. And it was really beautiful in some respects.
Yeah.
But I don't know where let's see. I'm gonna have to, I think I'm going the right way. Anyway, hi Tamron, welcome back.
I'm back. Thank you. I couldn't hold my bladder any longer.
Oh, I know.
I'm glad you're both taking care of yourselves.
Yeah.
And the dog wants out again. So up and down, up and down.
Oh gosh, yes. Okay, well, I'm gonna head into the office here. So, but so nice to touch base with you. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you got to be here for a little while.
Me too. It was really just, great to hear you both and soak in your positive energy. I love you.
Likewise. Mwah.
Okay, see you in 2 weeks.
Okay,
see you. Let us know how it goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been squishy, I'm sorry. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
That's too funny. That's too funny.
Oh, well, it's just us chickens, and you got to jump in a half hour, right?
Yeah, I gotta jump off at 2. So, and I don't have a lot, but I have something fun to report, which you guys are gonna be like, what?
Whoa,
Same as Maggie. Well, same thing. I just got back last night because I traveled down to see my family for 10 days, right? Because I hadn't, seen them since I came up here to Northern Ontario, dealing with my house stuff. So it was Easter, and I thought, okay, so I got a cheap flight to go down on the Saturday during Easter weekend. And then I flew back last night, and it was so much fun. My son picked me up because he now lives close to the airport, my youngest, and he's got his own place. I mean, my ex owns it, but he broke up with his girlfriend, so he's in his place by himself. So he picked me up. Yeah, he picked me up, and I stayed with him. And then on Sunday,
you stayed with your ex?
No, I stayed with my son.
Oh, your son. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't stay with.
Oh wait, your son broke up with his girlfriend or your husband?
Yeah. No,
I thought you meant okay.
Sorry, I'm babbling. My youngest son broke up with his girlfriend, but he lives in a house that's owned by my ex.
Got it. Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, get it straight. In my head, I know what I'm talking about. Maybe I was babbling.
Right, I'm catching up. Okay.
Yeah. So, so I went and stayed with him for the first 3 or I guess about 4 days, and then I went back to staying with my mom and my sister. It's my sister's house, but my mom lives there. and my brother lives there, so I have to sleep on the couch. But no worries, that's where I was for the past year, like staying at my sister's.
Yeah.
So very different energy. Going back, and I didn't take any work stuff with me. I just brought my laptop in case whatever. I did jump on one call, but it was nice just to like check out because like I said with you guys last time, I'm changing my avatar, like who I want to start working with. And so I thought to myself, I'm not going to stress myself about this while I'm gone. I'm just going to like check out mentally and just go and have some fun. And I had so much fun. I had an absolute blast hanging out with my kids. And then my best friend, we got together on this past Sunday and we went hiking. And we've been trying to get on this trail and it backs onto my ex-husband's property, which is bizarre. Okay. But it's this famous place. And I lived in that area for, I don't know how many years, 20 years or yeah, 20 years. And, I'd always heard about this famous farm and a lot of production companies use that to film movies, right? But you can't see a lot from the road and there's no sign going in. So anyways, make a long story short, my son said, Mom, if you guys want to go hiking there, this is how you get in. So I was like, okay. So my girlfriend and I were like, okay, Sunday was going to be gorgeous and beautiful, like 25 degrees. So we went for a hike, found the spot, went in there. And apparently they were filming at night because at my ex-husband's house on the other side of the property, they can see the big spotlights late at night. So they were doing a lot of film, like a lot of night filming, right? But it's still open. Yeah, it's still open to the public because it was a property that was donated to like the community or whatever. So anyways, we get in there and there's all these cars and and I said to my girlfriend, well, I don't know where the trails are or anything. I'm sure there's going to be signs or whatever. So we found a sign and whatever. And then we weren't sure where to go. So there was a woman standing there and she was like our age. So I said, well, I'm just going to go ask this woman what's this place is all about. She looks like she knows what she's doing. And so we ended up hiking with her and we started off and whatever. We told her we were there and she goes, do you watch The Handmaid's Tale? And I said, oh yeah, I just started watching it. I said, it's such a dark movie. I said, it was giving me nightmares. And I said, but it's starting to get better. And she goes, they filmed that here. And I said, oh yeah, I saw in the thing, a lot of it was filmed in Canada. Because I could tell. I was like, I know that city, whatever. And so sure enough, a lot was filmed in Southern Ontario and I think in BC or no, in Southern Ontario. And then and she goes, and Reacher is being filmed here too. So it's like, wow. So anyway, so we hiked all through there. We had a great day. And I wasn't talking about work stuff, and we were like looking at wildflowers and blah, blah, blah. It was just very casual. And right at the end, she goes, what do? So I gave her my little spiel and she goes, oh my God. And she goes, do you have a website? I said, no, but I make these videos and I'm doing master classes. It's all on my on my YouTube channel. I said, I'll log you on before we leave. So that was pretty wild. So I was like, okay, you just never know who you're going to run into. And then I get on the plane yesterday and our flight was delayed for all these crazy things. And it's only an hour and a half flight to go back and forth. And I was sitting between these two women. And this one woman beside me, she was like super chatty and she was on a business trip. And I don't know how on earth we started talking about whatever. I think she was talking about astrology first and she was showing me this app. And she goes, I don't really understand it. And I said, well, I'm an astrologer. Let me see what it says. So I'm like, Ramla, she's like, oh my God, how do you know that? So I told her what I've been doing. And she goes, are you serious? And I said, yeah. And she goes, because we're all flying back here to Northern Ontario in Thunder Bay, where my camp was. And she goes, I've been looking for an astrologer to hire to do a birthday party because my birthday's coming up. And I've wanted to like have someone come in and do readings for my friends. And I said, oh, I could do that.
God.
I was just like, oh, I could do that. And she goes, well, what you just told me, like in 5 minutes, she goes, that is so powerful. And I'm thinking to myself, that's easy. So I said to her, I said, yeah, that's what I said to her. I said, well, I could do that. And I would charge you $97 a mini reading. And, my son and I built that Excel program where literally I just plunk it in and it spits it all out. And I said, and I'll give you guys a PDF or whatever. And she was so excited. We were waiting on, like, still on the tarmac. We hadn't even left because they had to keep taking us off the plane. And so she's already messaging her friends, and all these people are like, I'm in, I'm in. So I'm like, okay. I said, I'll follow up with you tomorrow. And then she's telling me she's in perimenopause and she's been going to a holistic practitioner to try and figure out, what's happening with her body. And I'm looking at, and she said, oh, this is what the woman recommended I do. And so I looked at it and I said, oh, you need to do more than that. And I said, but your astrology chart has the answers. And she was like, oh my God. She goes, well, if my friends want to hire you for something more. I said, oh, no worries. I said, I'll follow up with you like on Thursday. I said, because I'm going to be whacked for a day. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it was like literally I checked out to have some fun, right?
Yes.
And literally as
Yes.
I'm coming back, boom, the clients are just showing up.
Oh, Tamron, that's so awesome. I'm so excited for you.
I know, finally. But I
Yeah.
will say, Laurel, um I've been doing a lot of emotional clearing in that little what that program I bought, with the emotional eating stuff, with tapping,
Mhm.
but it is a lot of like Tony Robbins. She adds visualizations to it, and
Mm.
you go back to memories of it always goes back to your childhood when she asks you to think of a memory of being forced to eat something or told to eat everything on your plate, like you're understanding where your emotional food trauma is coming from, and
Mhm.
then you're clearing it, and ultimately it is yourself anyways, it's just a reflection, but it's clearing those wounds that have to do with the mother wound, with nurturing, because food is nurturing. So this
Wow.
is everything
Wow.
that, again, I'm going to tie this all together, and
Mhm.
like my coach said, yeah, you can't sell that, but that is what we're doing. But I'm going to be using astrology as well as part of, the overview, and then what your chart is telling me, because it always goes back to the moon, to the fourth house, which represents your mother and nurturing, which
Yeah.
is Mother Earth. It's exactly all connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to connect it all, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, and I was just like,
Love it.
as people are showing up, I'll just use the people that show up, ask them questions, and allow it to unfold. And that's what they teach you in Sage's thing. You do your workshops and your events, but to see what people want. And then you tweak it.
Mhm.
It's like the message we got today. You just keep
Mhm.
tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it, because you forget what you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I assume people know what I know. It's like, why would anybody? And then I go talk to somebody and they're like, what?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, you know what just came through to me while you were saying that is what's coming through to us. So, in this time of the age of Aquarius and the divine feminine rising, this is you opening up like the phoenix and just letting that divine information come through you to then feed this rising
Yes,
divine through the divine. Does that make sense?
exactly. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
the Pluto in Aquarius. And Pluto is in my fourth house. That's where we get the
Mm.
transformation.
Yeah.
So remember
Yeah.
what you asked
Yeah.
me, what planet so Pluto's going to go retrograde first in 4 days. So when he goes retrograde, you just revamp, redo, and then by the end of the fall, whatever, because my goal, this will be my wish, I wrote down before I went away that whatever questions and people are asking me, I'm I already know how to do it, but that's going to be the book. Like I'm going
Mhm.
to write a book that has to do with teaching women how to use the information from astrology, especially the moon, to help you understand how to clear this trauma, and how to use the moon to like plan to do things, and like how to use it for your food and whatever. Like I know it in my head, so it's just going to come out. That's the book that's going to come out of all
Yeah.
this. So it's like, you have the master class that gives you the training, what creates the coaching, which gives you the book, and then you can flip it. You can have someone buy the book, and in the book you can offer coaching, you can do the master class link and whatever. So it's interchangeable.
Yeah.
That's what they're teaching us in Sage Levine,
Huh.
right?
Beautiful.
You
Beautiful.
just, right?
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
powerful.
And because I'm clearing, that's why all this is coming in, because I'm doing my own internal clearing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
I think it's a good reminder too, because when we're on vacation, like you just said, you only took your computer to check in if you had to, and you checked in once because your intention was to be present. Your
Yeah.
intention was to be in the moment. And
Yeah.
it's in those moments when we let go of all the to-dos and all the have to and the business stuff,
Yeah.
then it can flow in. Then it's like, here you go, here's some more business.
Like swinging on the hammock.
Yeah.
That's when the ideas come in, because that is
Yeah.
me, because I do have a lot. I'm like Maggie. Like Maggie's a Virgo, but I do have a lot of mental Gemini Virgo energy in my chart, even though I'm a Capricorn. I have a lot of them because all my planets are in those signs of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini, and my son is Gemini and my other son is a Virgo. So like, it's a lot of mental. That's why I get Maggie. Like I get her. And, with a lot of that, in mine's Capricorn, she has a Capricorn moon, I think, same as me. Capricorn is the judgment too. So it's when it's your moon, it's like you look at yourself and you always see fault, you always see error, and you can't help it because you have a Capricorn moon. You're never going to look at yourself and go, I look amazing, I've done a great job. You will look at yourself and go, I fucked up. I didn't do this. I didn't do that.
Huh.
You will never see yourself as that's Capricorn moon,
Wow, that's so fascinating.
because
Huh.
the moon is always your reflection, right? So what you
Wow.
see when you look at, it's like looking down at, say, you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're looking at your reflection in water, depending on where the moon is, in what astrological sign is what you're going to see.
Mm.
And you can't change that because you were born with that.
That's so good to know. It's part of what I'm thinking of is people in my life who that drives me crazy. And so today's lesson is let it go, let it, bend and flow with these different people who have different ways because they just are born that way.
Yeah, you can't change
Part of
it.
their makeup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's why astrology is so healing.
I want to ask you, I forgot where Pluto falls in my chart. Did you
Well,
send
let's
that to
look.
me at one point? Or because I'm just curious. I want to go back and look now where the
No, but I'll look. Let's
retrograde
look. We
is
got,
gonna affect.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
quickly
I know
look.
we've just got a couple minutes, but
No, let's
this is so
what?
fascinating. So
Uh,
are they gonna pay per person then
yeah,
for the
97 per person for 30 minutes, which is easy peasy. And I said to her, I normally charge 497, but I said to her, I do an hour and I do much more in depth. And I said to her,
yeah,
so for something very basic for someone new, I said, and I said, is that a good price? And she said, that's a good price. So I'm like, that's okay.
maybe do you have a minimum of how many people need to sign up to make it worth your while?
Well, this is the thing. I don't have a vehicle, so um I'm
Uh-oh.
gonna talk to her tomorrow and say, you can have your party wherever you want, and we can just jump on Zoom,
There you go.
right? And then I don't have to worry about
Yeah.
that. If she does one in person, Jeff said to me, he goes, I would drive you, and then there's a location here, but we'd have to pay for it. So I'm gonna try the Zoom thing because then they can
Taryn, this
hang
could
out.
be such a cool thing for you. I mean, I could totally see this taking off, and then you could, I mean, the fun of being in a party atmosphere and doing this would be so exciting,
Yeah.
and you could sit in your home and have fun.
Well, and you know what the weird thing
One
is,
whole person.
Laurel? I used to see myself as like a traveling astrologer, where it's kind of like, Tyler Henry.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That would be my goal, like, to be like the medical astrologer, like, because a lot of it has to do with the moon. You can tell, you could teach someone a lot about their health just by teaching them about their sun and their moon sign, which is easy. Most people, even if you don't know the time you were born, you could still figure out the moon unless it's on the cusp of something.
Yeah,
But and so that's what my program is about. And as I get better, that's be like, you could pay for me just like Tyler Henley to travel to your home,
yeah,
because you know in my chart it says that I'm going to work with celebrities. I don't share that with a lot of people.
yeah. I
And
totally see it. I
right,
totally see it. But you're such a loving, warm, welcoming, fun person. Your personality is that
because
way. So
I'm
I
Libra rising.
Yes.
Like you, we're Libra rising. Everybody wants to be our friend.
Yeah, and I think that fits really well with that party theme, where
Yes.
you can come in and just lift a party and
Yeah.
be, part of that excitement, and then people get excited and they want to tell other people or they want to have it themselves. I mean, it's just going
Yeah.
to
That's how it
go like
starts.
wildfire.
Exactly. There we
Oh,
go.
I
See,
love this for
that's me. And
you.
you get that, like Libra rising. But I had to
Yeah,
learn this stuff and I had to do my own clearing. Okay, so let's quickly look for you. So
yeah,
I'll share the screen. Let's share
thank
the
you.
screen. This is your chart, and we're filming this too, so you can always go back
Oh,
and
yeah,
relook. Okay.
thank you. I was just curious about Pluto, but now that you say the moon, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Okay, so right now we have, oh, hold on. We got to add the transits. Will it do it? Got to tell us where the planets are now. Okay. All right. So this is your chart. Okay. So as of today, oh, Jupiter and the moon are conjunct. Today's the auspicious lucky energy in astrology too. Remember I say when Jupiter and the moon are together, it's a lucky
Yeah,
energy. Okay, so Pluto over
interesting.
here, we got Libra. So you have Pluto in your 12th house. Okay, so Pluto is over here, down here at the bottom in Aquarius. This is so he is going to be in your fourth house. So that's family stuff, Laurel.
Really?
There could be, and I don't know, I'm just getting a hit, like you just got a hit, because I know what's happening with your dad and everything, but I do think that I think healing's going to happen regardless with stuff that's happening with your dad. It might bring you guys all together and have a new perspective of just your family unit.
Yeah, interesting.
Right? Because he's going to go retrograde now, which means instead of moving forward over here, he's going to go backwards a little bit, but he's still in your fourth house regardless. So anything to do with fourth house is your roots, like your heritage. Like mine is like the ancestral healing of the wounds. That's where Pluto is for me too. He's in my
Yeah.
fourth house because I'm a Libra rising. It's just that my Libra rising is a little bit lower than yours. Like
Huh.
you know I'm my first over here, like over here where you're born, like your Libra rising sign, like you're destined, you're moving towards more of being a Libra. That's what your rising sign, that's what other people see, but it's ultimately what you blossom into over time, so you don't feel it so much when you're young, but you
Hmm.
do start to feel it, like now that I'm 61, like I'd say in the last since I was 55, I'm really understanding, my Libra, because Libra is the peacemaker, the party planner, um, the counselor,
Mm.
someone who can come in and negotiate or say, listen, you got to see both sides of the story. So, in
Interesting.
work, it's important for you to know that for your
Mm.
work.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really
but
interesting.
you have Libra pretty much as all of your first house, which is your first house is you, like how others see you. It also represents the head, and usually people with
Mm.
Libra, like that we're easy on the eyes,
Yeah,
right? Um,
yeah, yeah.
but I have mine's different. I have a lot of Scorpio in there too with Neptune in there. That makes me the PI and the people that wants to solve the mystery in that too. So,
Yeah,
but your
yeah.
fourth house is your ancestral stuff, which I still believe is our wounding that we're here to heal.
Uh-huh.
Anything to do with your roots, foundation, like the foundation of your home. It also
Mm.
represents your actual home and your mother and women.
Wow. Okay, you want to hear something crazy?
Well, I know it's going to line up with this 12. Yeah,
We literally this month finalized fixing the foundation on the house
I believe
because
it.
we need to get it ready to sell. So it's been all this stuff and it's created all this upheaval, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And I'm going to finalize that today so that we can get that done. But then in the meantime, my dad took a turn over around Easter, and all of a sudden, my family's waking up to this fact that he's, in the situation that I've been talking about for years.
Yeah.
And so we've been talking about getting the trust and everything finalized. In fact, I'm meeting with my sister-in-law today because the as you know, when he goes, then I'm going to be without a home.
Yeah.
And so the question is, can I assume this house? And my thought is, it's way too much house for me. But it would, if I were able to float it for a couple of years, it would give me a couple of years to sort out my stuff, to get the business finalized, or settled so that I have an idea of where I'm at. And then I could sell it, I could stay, I could do whatever. And it would give us time to sort through everything because the house is packed full, for all of
Yeah.
us to go through everything.
And that
So the
takes
question
time.
is whether or not I can assume it. Yeah,
Okay. I
it's a
got an intuitive download. I don't know, but you might want to consider Airbnb, like a room or,
yeah, I thought about that the other day. I was like, maybe I get a roommate. I don't know what that looks like. It would have to be
yeah,
a really special
or
situation.
something. Because
Yeah,
with Airbnb, you can be, and you can do, well, Verbo, you have to rent the whole house. So the owners are never there. But Airbnb, I've been an Airbnb host for so long. I know the ins and outs, and they keep making it better. You can pick and choose. You can not, someone wants to stay there, you can say no. Like you have a lot of control over who stays there.
yeah,
Um, but it's good money. Like someone will pay, like, whatever. And you can ask for specific people or whatever. But, if
yeah.
it pays your mortgage and you only have to rent it out like 5 nights a month or 10 nights a month, as opposed to having an actual roommate or whatever, if it pays the
It's
bills.
definitely something to consider. That would be down the line though, because right now, the first thing is to start going through room by room and start clearing out because
Yeah.
there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
So, and it's not, the layout of the house isn't really conducive to me being in it while somebody else is here because
Yeah.
there would be no privacy for an Airbnb.
Okay.
But
Well,
yeah,
Airbnb isn't about privacy. Airbnb and Verbo are different. Airbnb is they get a room, they have
yeah,
access to a shower and a kitchen. So I don't know, like, how many showers or whatever, but
yeah,
yeah. That's really all they're looking for. They're just looking
yeah,
for an overnight stay. Long-term thing, that's different, but you can set it up where it's a minimum of 2 night stay, or you do it only on the weekends or whatever. There's a lot of things you can do, but you might just want to look at, what type of income can you create to help you stay there if that's going to give you a home base for a couple of years.
yeah. This leap
Yeah,
where I am to assuming the house is a pretty big one
yeah,
because currently I don't have any income and I
yeah,
don't have the income prior to qualify. So
yeah,
we've got to see if I can co-sign with my dad and do so without having to put any money down, which there's a couple big, things to check off right there. And then if I do, then the question is once he passes, am I able to sustain this? I got to pay the mortgage, I got to pay the utilities, I got to pay the trash, all that stuff.
yeah,
And just assume that by then I will have some sort of income.
yeah.
Or I let it go and I walk away with some money, but it's going to take a while to see that money because it's got to go through probate and all that stuff.
Which could take years. Yeah, that's
So
the
there's a
situation.
lot, and then I just am at the mercy of, okay, who's going to let me stay on their couch for a while or in their basement, that sort of thing. And yeah, that's
Yeah,
where,
that doesn't even feel right. I think you should, yeah, really have a solid talk with your family and just say, figure out the money, what it's going to cost every month to like get those utilities paid. And, you
yeah.
know, or it is
Well,
a roommate, like, or it is somebody, but make sure that whatever it is that you're renting covers the utilities so you don't have to worry about that. Like the mortgage and your insurance, and figure it out, get it down to a dollar, and
yeah,
know that's what you need to to rent it out,
yeah,
or to get a roommate or Airbnb or whatever. But if, like you say, if a roommate is someone that if that's consistent income, I don't know, there will be an answer.
there will be. And it's been incredibly stressful.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's been really a lot.
well,
So,
yeah, I know. It
I
is a
just
lot.
assume at this point now I'm going to say, you know what? I hit a point of more stress than I've ever felt in the last couple weeks, to the
Yeah.
point where I scared myself.
Well, it
And I
is
went,
scary.
okay, whoa, I gotta let go because this is gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Literally, it's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
So now I've got to go back to finding, I am going back to finding my spiritual center and operating from there
Yeah.
and okay, stop freaking out about all this stuff and come back to it's going to work out for the highest and greatest good. And I let go of it has to look like this, it has to look like that. I have to have the house, I have to have a place to live, blah blah blah. No, let go because you work it out, spirit. This is way too much for me
Yeah.
to figure out on my own. And I'll have the answers as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting, I'm seeing a visualization. It's probably a little bit of me and you, but sometimes, because you've been saying that to me as you go through boxes, but when you go through stuff, you're clearing that energy and it's amazing what comes in.
Yeah.
Answers, divine guidance, like, yeah. Oh, hold on. I'm going to look at your chart one more time. I stopped sharing, but I just want to see where Mars is because Mars is going to move forward. He's in your 10th house, 11th house. So Mars is now moving forward too. So that has a lot to do with moving and traveling and stuff like that. But I don't see him in your anything to do with home. Like he's
Mm.
in Cancer. Is he in Leo now? Hold on. I think Mars. I don't know. I don't see in this just from astrology point of view, but usually Mars, if he's in like your home, I see a move or a change. Jupiter is like, a big traveling thing. So I don't know. My gut's telling me you're not moving, but I could be wrong.
Well, it's interesting you say that because in the last 48 hours, so some other stuff came up, and long story short, I kept coming back to what do I know in this moment? And what I came back to was it's been so incredibly stressful this last month. I mean, there's been extra emergency room visits, extra hospital visits. My dad is declining. He needs more care. I've got to get up earlier. I've got to stay up later. I'm getting less sleep, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I just got to the point where I was like shaking and I'm going to bed every night in tears. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't take on one more stress
Yeah.
of moving.
Yeah.
And if it means that I have to take a huge leap to stay here and figure out how to pay for this house so that I have some more settledness after he passes and some time to go through stuff, so be it. You
Yeah.
know, I'll have to, it's got to figure itself out because the stress of having to pack up everything here and move and handle the house would just be like another
Yeah.
duty, you
Yeah.
know?
I don't feel that. I
Yeah,
think I see you going through stuff. Um,
I think so too.
I think so too. And I think things are going to shift when you go through the stuff.
Yeah.
And I would start with a room. I would just focus on one room. If potentially someone could be a roommate or whatever, clean out that room first. Do
Yeah.
it one room at a time. Like it's bizarre. Like even though I'm here back in Northern Ontario at this guy's house, like while I was gone, he like froze up. He can't do anything because he can't,
Mm,
and I can't blame him. He's still
he's
dealing with
grieving.
her death.
Yeah.
And I said to him, like, I'll help you. Like, now I might go back down for Mother's Day. So I might be here for a bit and going back and forth. But that's really my wish. That's what I wanted. How can I work remotely? That's why I'm in Sage's program. And
With
I'm
your
like, this is
kids.
going to be so easy, but I said to him, I will help you. Like, you're not charging me rent, but I am, literally holding your hand because I know how hard it is. Like, I had to go through that when my dad died. I was the oldest. No, was my family there to support me remotely. They
Same.
weren't, they weren't physically in it doing the work. And Laurel, I know how fucking hard it is
It's so
because
fucking
you
hard.
still have to process your own emotions.
Yeah.
Like you're the caregiver.
And then on top of that, to be told or belittled, like it's not that big of a deal, or
It is a
if
big
you don't
deal.
get it. Yeah, I
Who,
feel like, Tamara,
yeah,
when this is all over, I feel like there's an exhaustion that is so deep that when
I
this
know.
is over, I'm like, I hope I recover in 6 months because I just
Yeah.
want to check out for like 3 months and go lay out somewhere and fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
that's what
oh
he's trying to
man.
do, and he has to get up and
Uh,
function. So I get that.
Yeah,
And this might be a movie or a story or something you do. So I think you should document it as well. Um,
yeah.
but I do get it. And you know what? Yeah, and you're entitled to something. I'm sorry. When you are the caregiver, like my sister is looking after my mother, and my mother is giving everything to my sister. Not that she has anything, it's just going to be some money to pay for her funeral and probably to help her pay out the rest of her mortgage and stuff. But I can't turn around and say I deserve a piece of that. I'm not looking after I looked after my
Yeah.
father and I looked after my sister when my sister was young, when my sister didn't have a home because my mom's new husband didn't like my sister. And I felt so sorry for my sister. And she lived with me for 10 years. And
Wow.
people don't seem to remember that.
Right. Yep, exactly.
I get what you're saying. So you are entitled. And if that house comes back to you, so that you have a sense of security, you deserve every ounce
Well,
of that home.
thank you for saying that because what I've been rolling around in my head is, if I assume the loan, there
Hmm.
might be a grace period where I don't have to pay the mortgage. I don't know.
Probably
But
not.
I'd like to ask my siblings for 2 months of mortgage payments and bills covered out of the estate
Yeah.
as for all the work that I've done. I
Yeah.
don't know if they're going to go for it, but I want to say, give me that 2 months because during that transition, it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
That'll buy me a little bit more time to hopefully get the company up and running, and then
Yeah.
I'll take the burden from there, or the
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Do it
know.
step by step. And just remember, are you the executor or is anybody the executor?
That's what we've got to figure out. No, because we had a will and now we're going to move into a trust. So my dad's got to assign trustees and executor. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing, as an executor, you are entitled to what you want. And
Mm,
that could be money. Like, you can assume the value, like in general, like say you sold the house and you had to deal with everything as the executor, the standard is a minimum of 10%. So let's say the house sold for 500,000, you are entitled to 50,000 right off the bat.
really?
Oh yeah. And then some. If you're doing more work since you've been the caregiver, you could ask
Yeah.
for you could you and you if you're the executor, you are in charge of that. I didn't take 10%. I took $1,000 out of my father's estate, and his estate came down to like 31,000. And so I took 1,000. I bought myself a cabinet, which was the big thing at my property that I wanted to take. And then we all got $10,000.
Yeah. That's good to know.
Yeah, I would check into that with a lawyer. That might even be
Yeah.
free information to find out what you are entitled to because you are the primary caregiver. So that's right now. This has nothing to do with an estate when your father passes, and then it's hard work to be the executor.
Mm,
It's not just calling the bank or calling the hydro and saying okay now it's the emotion, it's you are the one. It's like Maggie being the commentator at the funeral. You are emotionally connected to that person. You're
yeah.
dealing with emotional crisis. Like it's not an easy job, I'm telling you.
I had to do it with my mom, and I remember physically standing there with her death certificate in my hand because I had to read off stuff to the people when I was calling, and it was just
Hmm.
so
I know,
simple and so hard to
so
stand
hard.
with that in my hand and have to look at it every time and tell them, yeah,
And if people aren't the one doing it, they have no idea what it's
no
like.
idea. Mm-mm.
It could be a movie, Laurel. It could be a little mini movie
Well,
you're
thank
doing.
you for this. I appreciate it, and I'm so happy for you. I can't wait to hear
Oh,
how the
thank
story
you. Me
goes.
too. Yeah, and you're going to get through it. Like,
Yeah,
so yeah, let us
one
know what's
step at a
going on.
time.
But I say that house might, yeah. stand up for it. Stand up for what you deserve.
I feel like it's a huge leap to figure out how I'm going to pay for it, but it just feels like the right thing in this moment.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to
So,
remember too, when people pass over, they are the ones helping us on the other side to help you
right,
with
right.
things, to
Yeah.
make the connections. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I believe in all that stuff.
Oh, I plan on reminding him. Okay, when you get to the other side, don't forget to help me out.
Yeah. So give me a sign,
Yeah.
like when I
Yeah.
see a crow, that's my dad. Like a
Oh,
black crow, that's my dad.
that's funny. I just got chills. That might be mine because he loves crows. Crows
Yeah.
and ravens. Yeah.
Yeah. And the woodpecker is one of my favorites. So you said crow and raven and woodpecker today already.
Woodpecker,
Even
I've
go
heard
look
too.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you go look up the spiritual message of a woodpecker because you saw the woodpecker.
Well, I heard him. I didn't see him, but I heard him
Okay.
when you were talking. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Google spiritual message
Oh,
of
and
a
I saw one this
woodpecker.
morning. Okay.
You heard him. So that's your
Yeah,
message.
yeah, yeah. Well, I
And
saw one this morning. You're right. I did. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. I know we gotta go.
awesome. Okay.
Love
See
you.
you
Thank you so
soon.
much.
You're
Good
so
luck.
welcome. Yeah. Okay. I'll see you guys in
Take
two
care.
weeks. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.